Welcome back. A new edition of the guidance document, DoD DevSecOps Fundamentals, is out from the Office of the Chief Information Officer at the Department of Defense. DoD IT leaders list DevSecOps as an important part of their modernization efforts. Katie Bowen is General Manager for Public Sector and Defense at Synack. At DODAS 2024 in Omaha this week, she tells me the organizations in the defense sector that are modernizing well are challenging the status quo.
Particularly where speed and security look like they're at odds together. We've seen that with some of the software factories and some of the really great successes that have come out of there. Those organizations are also measuring cycle time. They're measuring MTTR and other key indicators of software quality. And, cyber plays a big part into that as well, of course, considering that those systems and pieces of software are being delivered to the warfighters in the field and sometimes on isolated networks.
If you say they're measuring cycle time, does that mean others aren't, or do you just mean that that's a really important part of success in this area?
I'd say it's a really important part. I'd say, it's easy to measure a million things and never really know where the signal and the noise is. You read books like The Unicorn Project and Accelerate and others, and you get so many great ideas on things to measure, but you really have to refine and continue to refine the things that you're measuring and make sure you're measuring the right things.
Yeah. Is it important to pick just a couple that are important to the outcome that you're trying to achieve? Is that what you're going for there?
Yeah, those indicators that are keys of mission success, right? I mean, every mission has different objectives. Some of them are short-term, some of them are long-term missions. And it's really about evolving that so you're delivering for your stakeholders at large. And, software is such a big part of what we do every piece of our lives today. And delivering quality software is important at speed and scale.
Yeah, at speed is an important term. Is there a right speed? Is it possible to go too fast for organizations that are just trying to really crank it out?
Yeah, I think it can. That can happen. Everybody talks about how Amazon.com is, they're running blue-green deployments on us every day, every couple minutes. I think that's important for a commercial organization like that to be able to deliver. But I think there's also that question of, are we building the right thing? And are our users going to love it? And it be useful and usable to them as well. And then, of course, security is inherent in everything we do. Is it secure? What are those key measures of software security? And through that pipeline and supply chain, we're hearing a lot about SBOM lately. We're hearing a lot about CMMC and other important pieces to delivering software securely through that supply chain.
Mm-hmm. You talked at the beginning of this conversation about the software factories and some of the successes that those organizations are having. Is there a point where that concept will proliferate so much where it kind of becomes the de facto way of doing business? Or are we starting to maybe already get to that point?
Yeah, I think, those software factories were started because something needed to be started outside of the antibodies of the organization, right? And we talk a lot about culture because at the end of the day, the tech is easy, it's the people, and we're all people. So I think, key decisions will have to be made about how to consume those factories or those factory outputs or abilities to collaborate at that level back into the organization and just have it be a new cultural way of working.
Mm-hmm. What do you see moving forward as the biggest challenge, integrating new tech? Everybody wants to talk about artificial intelligence. It's great, but the issue is not so much, it seems to me, AI as it is integrating into what we're already doing, both from an infrastructure perspective and a business process perspective. What do you tell folks? How do you help folks understand how to think about that idea?
Yeah, I think it's the old, go slow to go fast, right? We need to think really strongly about the guardrails we're setting up, with it for AI in our organization. We get asked a lot of how are you testing the security of AI, not just the peripheral services, because the models themselves are inherently secure for the most part. It's the chatbots and the things that we're building around them that have security concerns. And then you layer on bias with that and how you want your organization to respond. Should it be asked a certain thing a certain way? And that becomes inherently more complex. Mm-hmm. So I think that's all part of, how we work those tools both internally and externally into our daily lives. And those are all considerations that security and software leadership should think about before they implement at scale.
Katie Bowen of Synack. You can read more about DODAS 2024 on today's show page at fedgovtoday.com.